Yes, it was tequila. If it was her, it was tequila. I
thought
know
it was
her.
wine.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
No.
No, because I broke.
Which is Chris is smart. Actually, I should, if I'm going to break something, break a bottle of wine and not tequila. So Chris is onto something there. I will consider it in the next time.
I think you drank bourbon the first time I met you, but I almost broke the glasses, so you broke a bottle of tequila over my head, which good for you.
Yes.
Okay. Dana,
I did drink bourbon. Yes.
What do you drink for a second civil war? What pairs with a second civil war? Where 18 states are currently in the midst of sedition.
Dark and stormy? Maybe a dark and stormy pairs with a civil war? Yeah.
No, it can't be dark because black people don't get to vote. That's what the whole thing's about.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess a White Russian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Good. Nicely done. Nicely done.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You and Travis, the cocktail aficionados in the house. Okay.
Hey, 11 years in an Applebee's for nothing. I'll tell you that right now.
I did not know that
Did you work
about
at an
you.
Applebee's?
You were a bartender?
I was a bartender at an Applebee's in Albuquerque, New Mexico for 11 years before I started doing stand-up
That
full
was
time.
fantastic. I only lasted months. I was a cocktail waitress at Fung Lum at Universal Studios. And I had to wear a polyester kimono until I ate too many goldfish crackers and it didn't fit anymore. I split the seams. And then the career waitress, Kathy, I think threatened to break my arm because I picked up her tip tray. That's not important now.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
I was trying
It's
to be
amazing.
helpful.
We had some crazy times in Applebee's. There was a stabbing with a pocket knife. There was a bar fights. Yeah, a thing. It was, and we were in the nice neighborhood of Albuquerque, which I called them. They used to call it the Northeast Heights, but unfortunately, it wasn't very diverse. So I used to call it the Northeast Whites.
I never thought that I would hear Dana Goldberg start a sentence with, "We had some crazy times at Applebee's."
There's stabbing. Yeah,
Stabbing.
it's like with these one time. Those are like my band camp stories. Like my Applebee's stories start and end the same way as my band camp stories.
Things still stick in my mind. Yeah, Kathy, the career waitress. Every time someone ordered Absolute, she'd be like, "Absolutely, positively." I'm like, if you say that one more time,
Oh, I would have.
I'm gonna break a cocktail glass and stab you.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, so we're in the middle of the insurrection and a pandemic that is killing. That we're going to be at 300,000 by when? The end of this weekend, maybe.
Probably.
Okay. So I don't. We were just talking about Joe Biden's picks. We were in an emergency. It seems to me like all of his picks have been pretty diverse and pretty great and pretty widely praised, right? I mean, I don't know. This is no time for, I think, infighting about. We were talking about specifically the Secretary of Defense nominee, who seemed great to me. I get the whole civilian control thing and all that, and I think Joe Biden, and he addressed that, but I trust Joe Biden. I do, and I didn't vote for him in the primary, but I trust him.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the waiver is probably concerning more people than the civilian issue. I mean, I understand those are two, they're connected hand in hand, but I think, we try really hard when we set precedents as Democrats previously to uphold them, even though I don't know why we do that anymore because no Republicans do it. But, we don't always have to go low. And I understand why there would be an internal conflict of saying, I didn't support this before. It's hard to support it now. But Mattis, they did the same thing with Mattis when Trump put him in. So.
Yeah. And he just picked him because someone called him Mad Dog once and he thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor Pete may get the ambassador to China position is what the rumor is. That would let him deepen his foreign policy chops, can boost because people are saying I think he will be back in the race for president. So that's I think that'd be a good point. He speaks Chinese, right?
Yes, yeah. He speaks everything.
He speaks 5 different languages. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could learn it if he didn't speak it.
Yeah, if he didn't, he'll pick it up in like 4 minutes.
Tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
Just a Rosetta Stone while he sleeps. That's all he needs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, can I have the tiniest of violins for Melania? I mentioned this because I know you have a lot of concern. Oh, I made a joke that I don't feel like I got enough respect for in here yesterday. She just completed the tennis pavilion yesterday. You're a tennis lesbian. And I said even on the tennis court, she doesn't use the word love. She uses the word money. And that was a good joke. That was a solid joke. It's 40 money. It's 30 money.
No.
Maybe
Dana,
because she's not
like
seeing any money, so maybe that's the only reason now. If that joke had been before we found out Trump was broke as anything, that maybe
I don't know why I can't get the respect
because she's not seeing love or money these days. So maybe that's.
I don't care what you say. Why can't
Can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to? Why can't you treat me way I would be treated by any stranger on the street.
Okay. Privately, a handful of days after the final state tally, the First Lady tasked an emissary with discreetly finding out what was available to her in terms of budget and staff for her post-White House life. Money? Is money?
Mm-hmm.
She is determining what to put in storage, what goes in the New York City digs, and what should be tagged for shipment to Mar-a-Lago. She just wants to go home, said another source. Okay. Here is Yukon Cornelius is in charge of the First Lady's post-presidential budget, and here's what she gets. Here's what her research found is she gets...
Nothing.
Okay. She gets... There's nothing. You get... Okay, there's no budget. So, $20,000 a year pension, which is paid out... which is paid out only if her husband dies.
Oh.
Well,
That can be arranged with the right stiletto.
I mean, I'm just saying.
That
Could be arranged with a kitten heel if you use it right.
You seem to have some experience
right?
in
Well,
this.
Dana's not, she's a tricky lesbian. She's sometimes lipstick, but only as far as a kitten heel, not a stiletto.
Yeah, no, sometimes I have the heel, but I'm more of a chapstick lesbian in heels. It's very confusing to everyone around me.
Dana has a lot of muscle, so she could get a job done with a kitten heel. Okay, Michelle Obama's memoir and Laura Bush's memoir, of course, were massive bestsellers. Instead, Melania is said to be toying with the photocentric coffee table book. Okay.
It's
just
okay.
fill in
The
your own
RNC
jokes there. It's a pop-up book.
Yeah,
okay, of
yeah,
course.
the RNC will buy 40,000 copies. It'll look like it sold a few. And
The
she's
RNC,
fine.
right. It was the pictures of the me and the other things. Okay. All right. All right. Can I just say, remember we kept saying about Bill Barr, what it's like someone lost a poisonous snake in the house and we can't find it?
Yeah.
Now we found out what the poisonous snake is doing. Hunter Biden, I don't know what to make of this, Dana. So Hunter Biden says he is his tax affairs are being investigated by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware. He said, I take this matter very seriously, but I'm confident a professional objective review of these matters will demonstrate that I handled my affairs legally and appropriately, including with the benefit of professional tax advisors. The Biden transition team said President-elect Biden is deeply proud of his son, who has fought through difficult challenges, including the vicious personal attacks of recent months, only to emerge stronger. I mean, is this just a bone that Barr is tossing to Trump because he won't get behind his crazy election fraud thing?
It is, but it's also projection. What is Trump going to be investigated for the moment he's out of office? Yeah. Taxes. Yeah. He does this every single time. Yeah. So we really do need to watch over the next 5 weeks what he accuses people of doing, because I think that, the AG in New York needs to add it to her list of maybe we'll just check and see if that pizza parlor has a basement, because this is awkward. Yeah.
Well, plus, Hunter Biden's not president. Who cares?
Whatever.
He was also a civilian. If they're investigating him for accepting a diamond, he was a civilian. He's allowed to have gifts.
Whatever Hunter Biden did or didn't do has no bearing on the president at all.
Right. Equally suspicious, Eric Swalwell. So, have you heard about this, Dana? Mm-hmm. Our friend Eric Swalwell. So, yes, he is questioning whether Trump was behind a report about his entanglement. This is like a decade ago. His entanglement with a Chinese spy. He said, I've been a critic of the president. I've spoken out against him. I was on both committees that worked to impeach him. This timing feels like it should be looked at. He was referencing a report about his connection to Christine Fang, an alleged Chinese intelligence operative who became involved with Swalwell after enrolling at California State University in 2011. Fang subsequently helped Swalwell with fundraising events, convinced his congressional office to hire at least one intern that she recommended. She reportedly engaged in romantic or sexual relationships with at least 2 Midwestern mayors before leaving the country in 2015 amid an FBI investigation. Asked whether he had also engaged in a relationship with Fang, he declined to address that, saying he wanted to protect information that might be classified. He did acknowledge the FBI contacted him with a warning about Fang shortly before she left the country in 2015, and he had provided information about her to the Bureau. So, first of all, this is before he was elected to Congress in 2012, and before he married his wife in 2016, so we don't know whether it was romantic or not, but this all just smells funny, doesn't it? So,
of course it does.
Yeah, here's Swalwell yesterday.
Just over 6 years ago, I was told about this individual, and then I offered to help, and I did help. And I was thanked by the FBI for my help, and that person is no longer in the country. And I was a little surprised to read about my cooperation in that story, because the story says that, there was never a suspicion of wrongdoing on my part, and all I did was cooperate. And the FBI said that yesterday.
Yeah. He went on to say,
at the same time this story was being leaked out is the time that I was working on impeachment on the House Intelligence and Judiciary Committees. And if this is a country where people who criticize the president are going to have law enforcement information weaponized against them, that's not a country that any of us want to live in. And I hope it is investigated as to who leaked this information.
yeah.
The people.
Yeah, it's like Rick DeSantis sending a SWAT team to the woman that kept coronavirus statistics and pointing a gun at her children and husband because, right, she's been continuing to put out accurate statistics. One last one, Eric Swalwell.
The people who did share classified information were the people who leaked this story. And to do that against a critic of the president, they may think that they're going to silence me. They're not going to silence me. But what they are going to do is they're going to make others think twice when they're asked to sit down and provide defensive information about people like this. I hope none of my colleagues ever find themselves in the position that I found myself in by having to sit down with the FBI because someone who had helped the campaign was trying to do this. But I hope every person would want to help their country, just as I did.
Robert in Florida, you're on with Dana. How you doing?
Hey, Mama, ciao. Hey, Coach, maybe Coach will agree with me. She brought up the Attorney General of the state of New York, and what I'm thinking, the reason why I'm calling is because we got to get ahead of Donald Trump running for president again. We got to get the indictments from the state of New York out on the table so that he doesn't go around saying, look at this, they're trying to indict somebody who's trying to run for president.
Yeah.
He would do something like that.
That was the worst Trump impression I have ever heard, Robert.
Oh, I could do worse.
Can you? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I can't. It's almost embarrassing.
Mama.
Yes.
I also have a guy fired from a bartending job, too. 1 week at Red Lobster. They caught me eating all the clam chowder. I was told to leave.
Well, all right. Thank you Thank you for sharing your shameful waiter and waitressing stories.
Well, I tell you what, Robert, if you listen to
I
people
actually got fired at, it was the Country Western Bar. Where's that? The one in the Valley, the really rough Palomino Club, something. I got fired from there for picking up somebody's tip tray. That was it. That was the waitress that threatened to break my arm.
You can't remember which job you stole from more?
I did steal. I wasn't stealing. I was trying to help.
You stole a buttload of goldfish crackers.
I got the worst tips. I was the worst waitress. I would get like a quarter and be like, oh, thank you. That's back when there were payphones. I'm like, thank you. I can make that call I was hoping to make. Yes.
I don't know how much time we have before the break. I don't know if I should start talking or not. Are we going to go to commercial?
Yes.